We got an email from one of the viewers of the High Wire to our website, and it's to the whistleblower at ICanDecide.org. One of our viewers said, have you seen this discussion about camps essentially on the CDC's website? Now, this is what this is for. This is what's so brilliant about our audience is so many of you are really, really smart out there. This only came to our attention 2 days ago. There was a discussion about a form of camps on the CDC website. I sent that over to you, Jeffrey, because we've been running around over here. What did you find?
Yeah, it was called Operational Considerations for Implementing the Shielding Approach. That's an interesting word there, to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings. Now, this is guidance to, it's called to, quote, highlight potential implementation challenges and to guide thinking. And it says here, the shielding approach aims to reduce the number of severe COVID-19 cases by limiting contact between individuals at higher risk of developing severe disease and the general population, low risk. High-risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to safe or green zones, here we go with the military terms, established at the household, neighborhood, camp sector, or community level, depending on the context and setting. They would have minimal contact with family members and other low-risk residents. So let's take a look at the table here, how they break this down. We have household level, neighborhood level, and camp sector level. Basically, this is all built around movement of individuals inside and outside of this thing called the green zone. And you can see at the camp sector level, there's going to be one entry point used for food exchanges, a general meeting area where people can have visitors. Kind of sounds like a prison. So let's continue into this document. Brilliant stuff. The further quotes, the shielding approach proposes that green zones be maintained until one of the following circumstances arises. Sufficient hospitalization capacity is established, effective vaccine or therapeutic options become widely available, or the COVID-19 epidemic affecting the population subsides. It goes on.
Just look at that line. I mean, when you hear Fauci saying till the end of 2022 is where he sees some sort of imaginary end to this, though the vaccine doesn't seem like it's going to bring it. Are we talking about the potential that some people could be in these internment camps being protected for their health and safety for, I mean, God knows how long? I mean, it's I think a lot of people are probably shocked right now to know that this is not only being thought about, it's written and on the website at the CDC.
Yeah,
outrageous.
Interim guidelines. Absolutely. These are interim guidelines. So until the COVID-19 epidemic subsides, we're being told by CNN that this is the new normal for the rest of our life. So, and how do they define effective vaccine? A lot of questions there.
Yeah.
But let's go back to this document.
Okay.
There's a couple more quotes that just they need to be out there. Thus, in addition to the risk of stigmatization and feeling of isolation, this shielding approach may have an important physiological impact and may lead to
Right.
yeah, psychological impact, and may lead to significant emotional distress, exacerbate existing mental illness, or contribute to anxiety, depression, helplessness, grief, substance abuse, or thoughts of suicide among those who are separated or have been left behind.
You think?
And finally, yeah, the shielding approach is intended to alleviate stress on the healthcare system and circumvent the negative economic consequences of long-term containment measures and lockdowns by protecting the most vulnerable.
Wow.
So here we go. The economy is essentially ruined because of some myopic decisions by health officials. Is this their solution to fixing it? We'll help the economy by putting these people in a camp?
I mean, and that's what, I mean, I'm concerned when I watch this because I've been saying, and we go along like the Great Barrington Declaration has been saying, you know, focus protection, protect those that are, you know, over the age of 65 with other comorbidities. But when I've been thinking that, I'm thinking, you know, let them shelter in place, let them stay in their nursing homes. Let's make sure that they're really taken care of in the world that they live in. I wasn't thinking you're going to take them and stick them into prison and then hope that the anxiety doesn't take over and the depression. They start killing themselves in the isolation that they're saying could clearly go on for years and years. And you know, this document looked like when I saw it, it's like we're talking the end of July was when this, I think, got posted, which makes you wonder, New Zealand's moving this direction. It looks like Canada's moving this direction. Italy's moving this direction. Obviously, our CDC is considering moving in this direction. What has kept them from doing it so far, and I thought about, when I was looking at this, like Donald Trump, is it possible that they could say to the President of the United States, you know what, sorry, you're in this high-risk group, so we're going to stick you in a camp for your own good, and there it is. We just watched the President of the United States disappear. I wonder if that's why Donald Trump hasn't implemented this, because it might just put him into some prison system in the country. I mean, crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And where's the conversation at behind closed doors with the CDC as we speak today? Where is this conversation? Are we going to have a news conference tomorrow and someone's going to come out and say, hey, guess what? Here's the new implementation we're doing, just like New Zealand did, or just like in Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it makes me want to fire whoever wrote this thing. If it's Redfield or Fauci, I don't care who's president next year. What really makes me concerned is whatever lunatic has come up with this. Clearly, if they are allowed to continue on their plan, this very well, I mean, this is no longer a dystopian novel, right? This is no longer conspiracy theory. These things are sitting on U.S. government websites. Incredible reporting, Jeffrey, and thank you to that viewer out there for sharing. Again, if you have information that, don't ever assume that we're catching everything. We have an international team of scientists and doctors and lawyers that work at putting the show together. But something like this is what makes us special. That when you out there, if you got something you really think should be a part of our attention, go to whistleblower@icandecide.org. And Jeffrey, thank you for bringing that great reporting and continue to do your great work. You obviously have the Jackson Report. People just go to thehighwire.com to check that out. And for those that like to read and get more in depth, Jeffrey really gets deep down on a lot of these topics. So I look forward to seeing you next week. And boy, I'm sure that's going to be an outrageous show. Well, will we even know if we have a president yet? I wonder what's going to go on.
And again, we'll isolate every one of them, and we will find every one of their contacts, and we will make sure that they stay quarantined, and we'll check in with them every day. We're going to do a more complete job, and we're going to do a more meticulous job of making it less and less possible for others in the county to run into someone with COVID-19 infection. It's not just our county. There are going to be thousands of people hired who will be these contact investigators throughout the state. And this is occurring in many, many other states as well, perhaps all of the states in our country. Some of the people we find are going to have trouble being isolated. For instance, if they live in a home where there's only one bathroom and there are 3 or 4 other people living there, and those people don't have COVID infection, we're not going to be able to keep the person in that home. Every person who we're isolating, for instance, needs to have their own bathroom. And so we'll be moving people like this into other kinds of housing that we have available.
I asked this government if the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. In September, the federal government posted a call for expressions of interest for contractors to supply, provide, and manage quarantine isolation camps throughout every province and every territory in Canada. These quarantine isolation camps, however, are not limited to people with COVID, but provide a wide latitude for many people to be detained. Surely this government is aware of the intentions to build these isolation camps from coast to coast. And my question to the Premier is, how many of these camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain?
Question.
And in the RFP, it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travelers. Indeed, it doesn't even mention international travelers. It's just a broad latitude of people. Where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons? For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps? And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of Ontario.
Member, take a seat.